this computer. Gentlemen, welcome to a brand new edition of the Sunday Spin. My name is Greno with my cohort Vinny G in the house.
What's happening, everybody?
Sporting the Oklahoma State jersey. Today,
how you doing, Greno?
I'm excellent. And yourself, sir?
Couldn't be better. Very excited to have the following gentlemen on. Tell us who we got.
That's right. And without further ado, let's introduce our wonderful guest, Mr. Eric Shaggy Cullen, also known as Rick.
Hi, guys.
What's up, brother? How are you today?
Vince, I have one question for you.
Sure.
Couldn't you have gotten here any sooner?
Boomer. Boomer. Yeah, classic.
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't help myself there.
That's great stand-up if you're in Oklahoma, my man.
I bet.
Yeah, there you go.
Red Dirt Town, baby, Red Dirt Town. Okay, so you guys, Sunday Spin, we're all good friends. We've known each other for years and years. Fantastic. So, Vinny, I know that the 64 is a place that's dear to your heart. And so, yeah, I know you had something that was you were asking Eric earlier.
Yeah. You know, our stories all started in the 6-4. We've all known each other, like Greno said, for eons. It's been wonderful. But by the same token, I don't know the story up to Poway or when we met you, which would have been high school years. There's a huge gap.
We met in my senior year, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us how you got into music.
Well, you know, I grew up around it. My family is a big musical family, and both sides, mom and dad. But on my dad's side, my great grandfather had a piano at the house, and he plopped me up on the bench there, and started me playing about 5 years old.
Wow.
And then I took lessons eventually when I was about 9, I guess. And then I hit my teen years, and I kind of forgot about music for a while. not totally, because then I was getting into music, but listening, but I wasn't playing it. And then I picked it up again about the time I graduated, about 17, 18 years old. So really, by the time we met, I was kind of just picking it up again.
It's very exciting, and that's great to know, because I knew you had started very young, obviously, and a lot of piano players do. They as a general rule, and Greno can back me on this, I'm sure, guitar players don't usually start at the same age as piano players. Piano players, as a rule, start much younger, which is wonderful. So, you know, we had catching up to do ourselves, Eric. You came with a pretty good resume once you got to Poway. So you were pro's pro, you know.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah. I'd done a couple of recitals up to that point.
Awesome.
No, and then and then after Poway, I went to Sonoma State to go to music school. So I've always kind of been in that kind of, I guess, academic side of music. But you know, I'm a rocker at heart, and there's nothing like just the music that you make with your friends, and you know, that kind of salt of the earth kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, we've been blessed to be able to do that for such a long period of time, haven't we?
Yeah, and I just mean that as opposed to the more academic, learned kind of music, you know.
Sure.
Which obviously can be, you know, I mean, dude, I was watching that thing on Pavarotti the other day. It's a Ron Howard movie he made last year. And I was like, okay, whatever. But, dude, it's amazing, right? And, you know, talking about, like, discipline, like that whole, like, kind of discipline kind of music making. And then like later on in his career, he started jamming out with, you know, Axl Rose or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you guys been up to?
Oh, just trying to make the people happy. Just trying to communicate the positivity and yeah, I mean, that's kind of the number one thing right now. I kind of took a break from music and songwriting for a while. I've been going so hard this year, but I know for you, Eric, you've been working on an album. We're really excited to hear about what part of the process are you in now?
Well, this thing has evolved so differently and unexpectedly than when I first started. It started out as one of my typical albums, you know, like after about a year of songwriting, I finally had enough songs to put together an album.
Yeah.
So, you know, which is how it happens. You're writing your songs and suddenly you've got like enough to make an album, right? So that's what I did. And that was like back in March. I had been putting together, I had about 12 to 14 songs that I'd written over the previous year. And so I posted some of that on SoundCloud just temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like all the demos I did here at Trees of Fire. That's my studio here in Windsor.
Awesome.
And yeah, and then so then I made friends with these guys out in Sebastopol who run a studio, and really cool guys. We've really hit it off. And the thing just evolved from there. Like how can we take that seed of an idea and just make it like this garden? You know what I'm saying? Like the ideas were there, but they needed to reach their full potential, so to speak, you know? And that's basically what I've been doing ever since. And every step of the way, it's been like, you know, like I'm doing the drum tracks right now. Like I wasn't going to have drums on, but a couple things. Now everything's going to have drums.
Cool.
And everything's going to have a certain like sculpt. It's going to be sculpted, you know what I'm saying? Before it was more like just how I felt, you know. COVID thing had just started, and it was a little bit abstract, a little bit kind of I don't know. It wasn't fully formed, you know what I'm saying? And after so much time, like over the last few months, it's like if I'm gonna put effort into it, I want it to really shine, you know. Like I've always had this kind of like attitude, you know, in the past where I don't know, just throw it out there kind of attitude, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's fun, and you know, because I don't take it too seriously and stuff. But really, over the last 2 albums I've made, this has really been more of the direction I'm going, which is to make something that's like really stands up, like in an art way, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, and I would even take that a step further as an outsider looking in, listening to the last couple albums, is the word I would use is they're much more introspective. And I mean that with all due respect. I mean, they're fantastic tracks, but yeah, they peel back the layers never before.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah. Because I've been thinking in terms more of like how to connect with people, how to be actually more universal rather than introspective. But in a sense, what you're saying, it's like by becoming introspective, that's universal.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely. It is right now. Plus,
we all have the same things going through it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. We've all been introspective, and the timing is right. But yeah, I think the other thing too is like you said, you've always been a rocker at heart and everything else. When I say it's more introspective, it's telling us more about the Eric Cullen that we don't always get on record.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Well,
You opened up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I interject?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being a fan, Eric, and collaborator with you just so y'all know, Eric and I have written many songs together. It's funny, Eric, I was on BMI the other day and I noticed that Dogtown was the song that was on there. But anyways, Eric and I have, you know, followed each other's solo work very closely. We've both also been producing work through this whole time, which makes it fun to critique each other. And I gotta say, I love the polished work. I love the direction, but I'll never, ever lose, my joy for your experimental side. And
Yeah.
albums like One for Rick. There was another one, Tacoma. A few of your records. And Eric's, how many solo albums do you have?
I think the one I'm working on now is like 18 or 19.
Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to make a box set or maybe 2 volumes. Someone asked me to do it, and I'm doing just like the Colorado. And again, not now, but that's a tremendous body of work, and it should be celebrated. You're a great songwriter, and again, I would love to just be a part of the process. So if you need liner notes or something, your boy's here for you. But I think it would be a fantastic endeavor at some point, and not only for your fans, but also for your family.
Cool.
Oh,
man.
speaking of, I'm gonna go get you. Hold it down, Vinny. I'm gonna go get Eric's book. That's something I just thought about.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
So we're going to talk, your record store memories too, Eric. And I know we've gone on many journey treasure trove hunt together over the years. And, Sunday Spin, we like to talk about our LPs and 45s and what we're listening to and latest releases, so forth. What have you been listening to?
Oh, God, so much stuff. And it's, well, I do this radio show for KRCB-FM. It's a local public radio station.
Called Rick on the Radio.
Yeah, Rick on the Radio. And I've been doing this now going on 7 years here this November. And one of the things that has been invaluable for me, it's been the greatest experience of it, besides being able to play this great music for people, is all the research that I do. I always had like this musicologist side of me, but this radio show has given me actually, the need to do that. So like, I'm constantly researching, new releases, whatnot, this and that. And it's just expanded my, my listening, 100-fold. Just the fact that I have to look into stuff, like, Gran, you remember, back in the day when we were at KSUN, that was the Sonoma State University's radio station. Greno and I were both DJs there. We'd get in, dozens of releases every week, That's great. That's such a great resource for learning about new music. But kind of once you're out of school and you're like in the world and stuff, you have to kind of find your own way to keep up with stuff, I mean, when you're in your 20s, it's easier because you're going out more. You're around that more. At least that was my experience.
And you're talking to people who are doing the same exact things.
Right. But anyway, I did. I'm gonna give you guys a little tour here, real quick.
Yes, please.
So this is Jam Central. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I got my keyboard set up and got some amps here. I got a drummer coming in tomorrow along with my neighbor Russ, who's a really good guitar player, and we've been working up some a little variety of covers and originals. He writes a little too.
Fabulous.
And, so we were jamming here a couple weekends ago. It was just Russ and me. And there's this guy across the street at another house doing some work on the windows there. And after a while, he come over. We were here in the jam, and he comes over and introduces himself. Says, "You guys ever think about having a drummer sit in?" Turns out he's a drummer. He's got an electronic kit he's going to bring over. Anyway, so here's my cassettes up here on the wall.
Oh yeah.
All the Mermaid stuff is up at the top there. The top 2 rows. You can probably, I don't know if you can see it, but you got your Sound Tank, you got your Patch, your Greno, your Silent Pomegranate, Octafish, Clown Alley, all the classics.
Clown Alley, one of my favorites.
Oh, I know, such a great,
so good.
Great album. I pulled out some records here. I was telling you, Grant, earlier off the air that I keep a lot of records in the house, by the turntable. Those are the ones I listen to the most. But I didn't want to move back and forth inside the house. There's people in there, Giants games on, too distracting, right? So I brought some of those records out here to show you guys. So I got a little stack of them right here.
Fantastic.
And then, you know, when you were talking to Tim, you guys were talking about, or you, Greno, actually brought up the idea of the collectability and the prices that things are garnering, right? And I brought a few of those. I have a handful of you know, treasures, but this is the one that surprised me. I just recently found out. So this little 45 here I bought in Tempe, Arizona in 1984. My family had just moved there from Las Vegas, and I was alone and homesick and didn't know what to do. And, you know, I'm in this hellhole of the Phoenix area. So the first thing I did was I seeked out the local culture, and where I figured I'd find it would be near Arizona State University. And sure enough, Mill Avenue, great place, great record stores, lots of great scene going on, a lot of great bands from that area, Meat Puppets, Gin Blossoms are from that area. But I'm in this record store, I see this punk record, I don't know nothing about it. It's just but I hadn't really heard much punk, so I was like, well, this is punk. I'll pick this up. You know, it's probably like 50 cents. Turns out this thing's worth like $400 or something, right?
Wow.
So this is a band called Scream, not the Scream. No. This is a band from LA, or yeah, Dana Point, I think.
Okay. Not
Called
the Scream.
Scream.
Right.
So they apparently printed up all these 45s with the name Scream on it, right? And then after the fact, found out that there is actually a more well-known band from Washington, D.C. called Scream, right? So everywhere on this record where it said Scream is crossed out, and they renamed themselves Rebels and Infidels. Everywhere on here, like on the record itself, scratched out by hand and written.
Wow. By hand. Yeah. Insanity.
Yeah, here's some of the title. There's 4 songs on this. It's Government Primer, Drainage, Generation 80, and Mass Media.
All holds true today, doesn't it? Except the 80.
Punk
Really?
rock records are what baseball cards used to be when we were kids. Baseball cards were worth a lot of money. Now they're worth nothing. And
Right.
Unless it's an autographed, you know, with a patch on there. But and yeah, punk rock records, and also just any record like that, Eric, that's like something that has an error on it. Even like with big releases, they'll pull it. You know,
Yeah.
like your classic example is the Beatles Yesterday and Today. But from what I heard, even only a few thousand copies of the original even survived of that. But there's a lot of records where there's either errors in the, could be songwriting or the listing, track listings, sometimes on the actual label. So that's a great example, Eric. Thank you so much for that. And I remember that record too. Looking through your, you know, I was like, what? Because I see that out, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And Eric, I still have that resin one too. Remember resin?
Oh yeah, I still have that. Dude, I have to make a correction. They were from Alameda.
Okay.
Not LA area.
What
Thank you.
Thank you. They appreciate that.
Yes.
Hey, you know, right?
Totally.
We wouldn't want us to say, oh, we're from Rancho Bernardo. What
I
band
know,
is
right?
from RB? Like, we don't even want to talk about that. We're talking about Poway Titan bands.
6'4".
Yeah. So, Eric, to bring last week's show into this week's show a little bit, you were a bandmate with Tim Ellison.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and during a really cool era, in my opinion, of the Nephews. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, you know, Tim, as all of us, had been friends since high school, but 1989, so I'd already been out of school for 4 years. 1989, you know, I had plans to move up here to Sonoma to go to school. But I also was in the Nephews. So I was with them for about 8 months, you know, before I moved up here. And it was great. It was my first real experience as, you know, a professional musician. We played some really good shows. Probably the most high profile. The one that mean the most to me was when we opened for Live Skull. Oh, something happened?
Oh, he had to go get his phone. Go ahead.
Anyway,
But
yeah.
Open to Live Skull, right?
We opened for Live Skull, and I didn't know who they were, but they were from New York, and they were somewhat well known. So that was pretty cool, and you know, we recorded that album, and so we actually in the 8 months I was with them did quite a bit and grew quite a bit, you know, because I always really respected Tim. I always thought he was like one of the best musicians around that I knew personally, you know. And when he asked me to join the Nephews, you know, at first I was like, I was honored first, but I was also like, God, I hope I can keep up with these guys, you know. But you know, as it turned out, he was very patient, and because I, you know, he was using chord choices that I hadn't even thought of yet, you know.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, Grant. I think that as far as like the songs at that time, there were definitely they had a certain like pop element to them, a certain like melodicism about them that I didn't hear in some of the other eras of the Nephews. You know, like you're
Well put. Yes.
you guys had brought out the second album, the one with Rob on it.
Yeah.
Heliocentric World.
Heliocentric Worlds. Like that album to me is really abstract, and like some of it's like really hard for me to get a handle on. Whereas Philosophy of the World, it has like this immediacy to it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up, Tim?
Yeah, shout out to Tim, and we like to weave our shows together because we are all connected. This is one big community that we're a part of, and now it's multi-states since folks like myself have moved out of California for whatever reasons, and we have friends all over the country now and all over the world. We got Bez Recker in Berlin, and we have friends back in Jersey and friends in Pennsylvania and all over the place. And Eric, don't you have family from Colorado?
Yeah, I have a lot of family in Colorado still. Denver and Springs and Montrose, Grand Junction. My mom is originally from New Mexico, but her family moved to Colorado when she was about 10 years old.
Okay.
So all of her, like, you know, younger siblings and stuff grew up in Colorado, and then all their families grew up in Colorado. So yeah, I've been going to Colorado pretty regularly. It's like, you know,
yeah,
my second home in some respects.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Definitely. So what about record stores there in the Santa Rosa area and Cotati and all that? Well, Last Record Store still around?
Yeah, so Last Record Store is, and they're like literally like the last record store in this county now.
Okay.
When you and I moved up here, I think there was probably at least 6 or 8 or more. But now, you know, they just over the years have dwindled down. But there is still a record store in San Rafael, Red Devil Records.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that reminds me, I wanted to show you my keyboard here because I've got all kinds of good stuff on it.
Yeah,
I've actually started putting stickers on my keyboard. So you can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah. You got Red Devil Records. You got Merge Records. Here's radio station.
Yeah.
Husker Du. Got to give a shout out to the Huskers. This funny symbol here was my band symbol for 8 Ways. What is it? What are we called? 8 Ways Till Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And I wanted to show you this sticker here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's M Theory Music. I noticed Tim said he worked there.
Yeah. He had mentioned that. I did not know it at the time either.
Yeah. That's way cool, man.
Yeah, and they're still around.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's look at this for a second.
Oh yeah.
So this is, you guys, just so you know, this is a book that Eric produced of his photography. He's a wonderful photographer. Shag, is that you in the picture?
That's my mom.
Okay. Okay. Well, you can't, I mean, you can't really tell. Like, it definitely makes sense that it's your mom. But
Yeah.
it is a very cool book, and I was actually able to get a copy because this one they messed up, and they gave Eric a extra one. Does that look good? Is that a good way to?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. So we'll just flip through. There's Eric's son, Victor.
Yep. The
And-
V-Man.
Yep. So Eric is a Renaissance guy. He does painting, photography, music. Did I leave anything out, Eric? Oh, cooking.
Yeah, cooking, sure.
But I want to get to, again, we could spend all day on this because it's wonderful, but just to be relevant, I want to find one with the boys in Outrage. Oh, there we go. So there's myself and Robbie Nefke. The great thing about, one of the wonderful things about Eric Shaggy Cullen is that he documented Outrage, my band, a band that was together for about 7 years, at least for 3 or 4 years. And this was actually taken in El Cajon, hanging out at a recording studio. And Robbie Nefke is one of my best friends and my oldest friend. I've known him since I was 3. Anyways, yeah, Eric did look, there's the boys. There's Chris Marsteller and the one and only Fez record. These guys will be on the show as well in the future. So, but yeah, Eric, what a gift. I was so excited when I got this. It's such a treat. So thank you so much. And
I was so happy to be able to give it to you.
thank you for documenting all that. Like, Eric has hundreds of photographs taken at the distillery, so many different clubs. And then also what you did for us is you just shot candid shots of us. You know, I mean, some of those outfits Rob was wearing, come on, how could you, right, Vinny?
Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story. He came to my house one time for band practice, right? Mom and Dad are home. One of those days, they had the day off, and Rob shows up, right? And we go to band practice the next day. My mom's like, "Who was the ugly girl in the pink tights that came to pick you up yesterday?"
Priceless. Priceless.
Priceless but true, man.
I remember a quick story with our friend Mark Russell. As you guys know,
yeah.
Rob was in a bead wearing stage in about '87. We were kind of, you guys know, we were kind of re-celebrating the summer. Eric knows, Grateful Dead shows, Fuzzy Navels, but the re-summer of love 20 years later. But we walked to get Marge Russell, as he was known. Walked up to his house, and his dad looked at Rob and was like disgusted, looked at me and said, "Where's your beads?" Like, yeah, Eric, you remember that one. It's like, that's priceless. But yeah, Rob was our Greg Brady.
Yeah.
He was our John Bravo.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey, groovy chick.
But what's the original song that in there was you, or it's terrible. The little.
Oh yeah, clowns never laughed before, and beanstalks never grew. Yeah, that's the Greg Smoking episode that me and Rob got the name of our band from.
Right, Banana Convention.
It's called the Banana Convention.
Yeah.
And we were the Tapioca Convention. Yeah, ooh, Greg Smoking. They're just playing cigarettes.
Wouldn't it be great? Again, I know it's all fictitious, but I always wanted to see what that band sounded like. Because the drummer, if you guys remember in that episode, Tommy was his name. He was a pretty good drummer. They had him practice. It was probably Hal Blaine, but they had like a drum track. Like, oh, he's pretty good. Like, I wonder what they sounded like. What would you guess, Eric? Psychedelic or more like?
Yeah, but a little bubblegum. It would be safe psychedelic.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
psychedelic.
Jack Nicholson's band did Psych Out. Did you guys ever see Oh man, they're like they're miming to the Strawberry Alarm Clock with a flute in the song, and they're doing a flute player, and Jack Nicholson's like, oh come on, please.
Yes, but Greg's band would be Flintstone Chewables, psychedelic, definitely, right?
So folks, we are all big fans of pop culture, right, Eric? Is that a safe assumption for all of us? What are some things that you remember about growing up in the 70s? It could be anything, it could be the red, white, and blue fire hydrants in 76, or could be freaky cereal, space food, I don't know. What are just some images that come to your mind?
The things that really stick out for me as soon as you brought that up was the cars, the different vehicles, the Ford Granada or the Mercury Marquis or, the Ford LTD, these just ugly, big, square, like some of the designs. I mean, were they out to lunch? The Landau roof.
Yeah.
After a year, that thing would be peeling off, and it would just look like crap.
So let me ask you this, man. Speaking of roofs, right? What did you think as a young man? Because you moved to Rancho Bernardo Poway, mid-late teens, right? Senior year of high school, like you said. The orange roofs in Rancho Bernardo. What did you think the first time you saw that?
All the Spanish tile.
Yeah, but they all have to, at the time, they all had to be orange tile roofs.
Yeah.
Formative.
I don't think I ever had much of a thought on those things.
Yeah, because it amazed me, coming from New Jersey and just looking at the houses in Rancho Bernardo and saying they all have orange roofs. And it was like a code in that city.
Right.
And I guess it still is. I don't know, what the statutes of limitations are, but still, I'm in that area every day. Still a lot of those orange roofs.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like it was a big trend for a while there. Every new development, like I was around when Tierra Santa was built.
Wow.
I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade when Tierra Santa was starting to be built, and it was like that was the thing. These new neighborhoods would come in, and that was the look. Like every area has its look. One thing that's really noticeable, and I especially struck me when I first moved up here, and I would fly back home, to San Diego, was seeing the building, the color of the building. It's like this pastel in San Diego that was really obvious when you were coming in from the air, because you could see it. So it's like that. It's like that. It goes along with the area, the Spanish style.
Right. You peek your head out the window and you're looking for the overpass at Balboa Park, and you're like, I'm home. And you don't know it till you see it. So yeah, it's like a landmark. So I'm with you on that. So you get homesick a lot. I know you're not that far away, and COVID's been what it's been, but do you get homesick for San Diego?
I get homesick for it when I go there. There's something about the air there that's always going to mean home to me.
Mm-hmm.
But like day to day, I made my choice to live up here, and I'm very happy with that. There's things I miss about it, sure. You're always going to have a certain aching for your home, right? Your homeland.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought about it. My wife loves it down there, and she's always like, let's move to San Diego. I just don't want to move.
Bring a lot of money.
Well, it's not much different than here, but
no, it's not. You're right about that.
I know that. This is the way I feel about living in San Diego. When I'm in San Diego, I feel like I'm really far from everything. Like that's the big difference between here. I might be further from certain things here, but there's like a little more spread here. In San Diego, I felt like I'm in the corner, because you kind of are. You're down in, the very southwest of the corner.
And I feel that way every day. Yes, absolutely. It's a great, great description. I hadn't had it put so well until you said it, but that's exactly what it feels like, that you cannot get your elbows out in this city.
And to go anywhere, the nearest thing is, I mean, other than LA, everything else is like 5, 6, 8 mile drive away, right?
Right. There's no traffic now, obviously, which is great, but there's still people, and people are people, you know?
And what is that? Depeche Mode?
Yeah, why should it be?
Ooh,
Yeah.
speaking of, you guys, you gotta check this out.
Eric,
I'm gonna tilt that a little.
Eric, while you're working on that for a second, I want to pay a couple bills and let people know that you are watching Sunday Spin with Greno and Vinny G. Our special guest is Eric Cullen. This show is brought to you by What's Left Records in Colorado Springs, Anonymous Collective Music in Colorado Springs, and Pyramid Scheme Productions. So thanks for tuning in. We're having a great time talking records, shopping records, rocking records. And Eric, what have you got for us now?
Oh, well, I was starting to show you my my little stack of records here, but the ones I want to really show you, I pulled out already. But I just wanted to show you this nice little case that I found. Got this at Target for $60.
Wow.
And then I put it on some cinder blocks. I don't know if you can see those, but just to keep it up off the floor. Yeah, and it's really nice, man. I got all my just like the bulk of my collection goes here, you know. Anyway,
that's awesome.
Should I show you a few records? Vinny started to ask me what I've been listening to lately.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really love to share some of that. I actually just got a record in the mail 2 days ago.
Ooh, that's such a good feeling. Oh, that never gets old.
So let's see here. I seem to. Oh yeah, here it is. Oh, so this is interesting. This is the kind of stuff I've been seeking out. This is
nice.
A Norwegian guitarist by the name of Hedvig Mollestad, and she plays like Hedvig Mollestad. She rips, man. I mean, she's doing this like crazy like fusion. It's like jazz fusion. Like I hear a little bit of like Zappa, the era of like the early 70s, like Hot Rats. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that era.
Oh,
he was getting this real kind of freeform jazz, almost freeform. It was still organized, but like Ainsley Dunbar was the drummer during those years.
Ooh, love him.
I know, one of my faves.
So
anyway,
good.
So she reminds me a lot of that, but then there's also like bits of metal, prog rock, and just she. Target. I went to Target the other day. My mom wanted to go, and I just wanted to get out of the house. You know.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on buying anything, but I just wanted to get out of the house, so I tagged along with my mom to Target. And we're walking through the store, and I look over, and there's a small shelf of vinyl.
Yeah.
Yep. Target.
I was like, whoa! So I went over and looked at it. And, you know, it was like the typical stuff you might find in a Target, like Katy Perry and James Taylor, you know, just
we had the Who's Greatest Hits and Ours. That made me happy. The big British Flat Blue album, yeah.
I found Chromatica, which is the new Lady Gaga album.
Wow.
On vinyl. Clear vinyl with this like really cool like packaging. It's just a clear plastic sleeve with like this almost transparent insert that you can't even read.
Cool.
Anyway, I love that. That's something that I've gotten recently.
Yeah.
Let's see. I wanted to show you guys a couple of things here. A couple years ago, I think it was in 2016 and 2017, Jimmy Page put out these remastered deluxe editions of all 8 Zeppelin albums. And they were not only remastered original albums, but then they each come with a second LP of bonus material.
Wow.
And a lot of outtakes and various things from the time that those albums were recorded. You understand what I'm saying? So like I got 2 of them. I don't need to have every Zeppelin album, but I wanted to have a couple of them. Zeppelin 3.
I was gonna say, let me guess, but I wouldn't have guessed that one.
Yeah.
Nor would I. Yeah.
So Zeppelin 3, it's even repackaged with the original, the spinning thing inside.
Awesome.
But it's an album that falls off the radar, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's a
that's
great
why
record. Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic album.
So like one of the bonus tracks on here is a version of Gallows Pole without the vocals. Dude, I love it. I just love it. It's like, it's so nice to hear that song without Robert fucking,
We're adults here. Yeah.
No, seriously though, it's nice to just hear the musical arrangement behind it because it's so good. It's like, oh my God. So there's the other one I got was Presence.
Oh, epic.
Which to me is probably their most underrated album.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yeah. But the thing about it, I think of this as like advanced Zeppelin. Like you've had Zeppelin 101, you might have even had Zeppelin 102, but this is Zeppelin 201. It's like they've taken the concept of the riff-based song, which is, quite a bit different than a song that's based chordally, right? Where you have chord changes. I mean, riff-based song is literally based on the riff that whatever Jimmy's coming up with, right? And that's what they do here, but they just expand that like to this like way different realm. Like it's very like it's all like very thinkable, but it's also danceable too. It's also very funky. It's got some great like stuff like Hot Song for Nowhere, or one of my favorite songs has been Nobody's Fault But Mine.
Oh, it's
Bonham's so amazing on that.
I know he's
God.
the best rock drummer of all time. Sorry, Neil Peart. No, it's not a diss.
I agree.
It's apples and oranges. I'm a songwriting oriented drummer. So the Ringo Starrs, even the Keith Moon, like it's for the song.
Yeah.
And again, not that Peart didn't do any of that, but he did. But yeah, absolutely. And Eric, the cool thing about that record is that that's really the last album they did as a band. In Through the Outdoor, they were not really a band then. John Paul Jones, from what I understood, held a lot of the arrangements and all that, which Jimmy Page would not be having that if the band was kind of more together at the time. So Presence was really the last one. Robert Plant had a broken leg. I think that his son had died, or it was so they were very dark times. And then, of course, Jimmy Page, that was a very dark time with substance abuse. So with all that said, they created this wonderful album. And then the object, which always tripped me out, the Hypnosis, which you got to give a shout out to the since we are a vinyl show. Hypnosis is the quintessential producer of these types of album covers. I mean, they're number one.
Here's another Hypnosis cover that I have just hanging on my wall here. I don't know if you can see it. Is it coming into view? There it is.
Oh yeah, okay.
Genesis, Trick of the Tail.
Yeah,
that's a Hypnosis cover.
There's a great book. You guys, if you ever get a chance, there's a Hypnosis book that just has their history, but all the album covers. And like, the 10cc ones that are very like sexually tinged and like, they go on. I mean, the Pink Floyd, I mean, they're legendary. But that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome,
they're like being a vinyl enthusiast, one of the pleasures, of course, was reading through the liner notes and the credits and all that, right? And as a kid, you always noticed if it was done by Hypnosis, if the cover was done by Hypnosis. I mean, you might not recognize it right away, but if you were looking through and you saw that, oh yeah, okay, you started to put the pieces together and realize, wow, this is kind of a cool company, whatever they're doing. It's usually interesting and unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, like you said, you can. It's an unmistakable kind of what they do is, it's very obvious. A lot of their covers, follow a theme and very surreal too. That's I'm a
Right.
big surrealist person, in the art that I enjoy. So that's killer, Eric. So what, you got your Easton bat there? What is that, a 28 ounce, baby?
So what?
Your bat.
I'm sorry.
Your bat.
Oh, my bat. Yes, my Easton bat. Yeah, that was from when I was in the Redwood Empire Adult Baseball League.
You were playing adult baseball.
Yeah, for about half a season before I blew my ACL and had to get knee surgery.
Man, how'd you like it?
I loved it, man. But the thing is, once I was over 40, I was like 44, and once you get to a certain age, that type of physical activity is kind of detrimental. I learned.
You got that right.
Your body just doesn't move the same way. Your mind does. You're eager and you're like, yeah, but man, things don't they don't respond like they used to.
Yeah,
so what happened?
Right. You go play in the senior leagues with the rest of the old fogies. Absolutely.
Right.
You're right,
Well,
because they're all going through the same thing as you.
I was pitching, right, and a ball was hit to my left, a grounder to my left, and I turned to get it, to field it, and my right leg just kind of stayed where it was, dude. The rest of my body turned, and it just went, and I just hit the ground. I had no support, that ligament, just it helps you stand.
Right.
Anyway, that's my baseball days. So I was going to show you, you were talking about covers.
Yes.
Two iconic albums here, Sonic Youth Evil.
Yes.
And Sonic Youth Sister.
God.
Both of these are on SST Records. These are both original pressings here. I think Evil is the better album. It's just my personal favorite.
That's funny. I like Sister more.
Right. No,
yeah,
a lot goes either way. But, and both albums are probably about equally as rare, but this Sister album is worth a lot more because of these pictures on here, which you probably know about. So this picture of the Disney characters and this particular picture here was done by Richard Avedon, who's a famous professional photographer. So those were used, without permission from the respective owners.
Punk rock, baby.
Yeah. So anyway, in subsequent editions, that they blacked those parts out. So anyway, this one's worth a bit here. I'm not sure what it is these days. It fluctuates, sometimes it's like $100, sometimes I see it for $300, whatever. I'm not interested really in the, I'm not going to cash them in.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just kind of nice to know, though.
It's very weird. Yes. It's surreal, some of the prices that they garner.
Yeah, the reason I had this one out front is because this is probably the most valuable record I have that I own. This is T-Bone Walker. It's on the original Imperial label, which is their stuff is really hard to find. Somebody just gave me this record years ago. When people know you collect vinyl, you tend to get free vinyl a lot.
Yes.
I've had about 4 different instances where people just gave me a stack of records they've had sitting around.
That's beautiful.
And this one was among some that my old boss at Tubby's gave me. You remember Tubby's?
Yeah, absolutely.
The little greasy spoon I worked at for 4 years there in Katati. Yeah, my boss, his good friend died and left all these records. Just the other, dude, just last month, my mom's friend gave me a.
Yeah.
Anyway, great,
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what else I got here for you. Oh, here's another one that's worth a little bit. Nirvana Bleed, the original. This is actually the second pressing, but it's still up there. People look for things there's no barcode on the back.
Yeah. I know, it's
right.
It's amazing all the little details with every pressing of a record.
Yeah.
If you delve into it on Discogs, it's amazing.
It is.
Just even what's written even on the insert of a record could show you where it's pressed. Like, is it the Santa Maria press? Is it the
Exactly.
I know it's mind blowing.
I love it. I use Discogs. Discogs is an invaluable, and I use it not only for my collection but also for my radio show. It's invaluable because a lot of those releases, you know, like you'll look on places like All Music, which is another big resource for me, or you'll do just like a general Google search, and almost everything ends up being on Discogs if you can't find it somewhere else. It's amazing. But the reason I brought this, I wanted to show you this, is because this record I bought, you know, when we lived at the Beverly Arms. I'm not sure, Vince, do you know the Beverly Arms? Do you know about the Beverly Arms?
No, I'm assuming that was like college days.
Yeah.
You know, because Joe working class, he was in the pools,
So when Rob and Dave Kronsberg and I first got to Sonoma State, well, Rob had already been here a year, but Dave and I came up the next year, and then the three of us became roommates, and we got this 2-bedroom apartment at the Beverly Arms. And we called it the Armpit.
Yes, you did.
And we had Armpit Studios.
Absolutely.
3 college-age guys sharing a 2-bedroom apartment. That was something.
And three guys, but what 3 guys? You know, you, Eric, and Rob and Kronsberg together in a 2-bedroom, man. It writes itself.
I know. Grant, do you remember that night that we had that party?
And that neighbor complained, and we were recording, Vinny, and I think we were recording a David Kronsberg song, and which the guy wrote some great he wrote like an Enterprise jingle and stuff. Yeah. But anyway,
white picket fence.
So Vinny, the neighbor, comes over because the apartments are very close to each other, and I don't know, it wasn't that late, but we get loud and we get enthusiastic when we're recording, as you know, because you do the same thing. And so the neighbor knocks on the door and stuff, and I'll never forget, Eric or somebody asked them, "Oh, so do you like the song?" And they're all, "I should by now," like meaning I've heard it 15,000 times. So yeah, bless all those neighbors that we, ruined all their their night, whatever, watching a movie or whatever they were doing. And
man.
Good times though.
I had a guy knock on my door in Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, I was in my apartment across the street from campus. Knock, knock, knock. He's all, "Could you turn it down? You're wilting my flowers."
Oh, God.
That's kind of like in Cheech and Chong's next movie, where, remember, Chong starts playing the guitar and everything wilts. I just watched that the other day. Eric, I can never not think of you when I watch Cheech and Chong movies, because Eric and I are notorious for doing all the famous dialogues from the movies. Oh, yeah. I think we were doing it before even the show started, so we won't bore you guys with that. But you guys are checking out Sunday Spin, though. Yeah, right. Boring. Yeah, we're about around the 4 o'clock lag for Eric. So
I know it is 4 o'clock.
Let's talk about the 4 o'clock lag in a second. But just to let everyone know, we've got about 10 minutes left on the show today. Eric, you've been a wonderful guest. Vinny and I are so blessed to have you on. And we're going to have you on again. We really want, we did a production meeting, and the higher ups would really love for you to do a little segment. Rick's Picks, and cool. So we can come on and be a regular. We'd love that.
Love it.
You'll be our stuttering John without the stutter. And, so again, we'll wrap it up here in about 5 to 7 minutes, but it's been a great show. And Eric, on that note, let people know what the 4 o'clock lag is.
Oh, okay. So 4 o'clock lag is when you're coming home from a great day out. Usually it involves somewhere down by Balboa Park or downtown San Diego. You've been down there all full of energy all day, enjoying yourself in the park. And then it's time to head all the way back up to Poway. It's like, it seemed like forever, right? It's probably like a 20-minute drive if there's no traffic, if that.
But it did seem like forever. You're right.
It did. It seemed like it took forever, and you're tired. you know, the fun is behind you now. It's like, and so you get in the car and you'd start heading up 15 and turn on the radio, and almost without, you could guarantee that you're going to hear these eyes cry every night
for you.
Or
okay, or
as time goes on, I realize. Terry Kath, though, oh my God.
I know.
What a,
dude,
man, what a brilliant
the other one?
musician. If you got,
What comes up must come down.
wait, way too soulful. Spinning wheel. Come on, it's got more robotic, please. But you guys, just real quickly, if you guys get a chance, I don't know if you're big Chicago fans or not, but Terry Kath, his daughter made a movie because, you know, he was lost tragically in an accident, shot himself in like 76. But his daughter did this great movie called The Terry Kath Experience. And she interviews like old bandmates and like, she really delves into her dad's, you know, he wasn't really very happy in the band Chicago, especially as they started to go more towards the Peter Cetera pop era. And he was about to start his own band and things. But yeah, it's just, if you guys get a chance, check out that documentary. I always want to give a shout out about a particular rockumentary, and that's the one for this week.
Cool.
I actually saw it, Greno. I appreciate the shout, but yes, I saw it last year. And yeah, I was blown away by it as well because, again, like you were saying, I don't know if you're a Chicago fan or not. You know, I'm with Terry Kath. I'm not a Peter Cetera Chicago fan. You know, give me the horns and the 5-minute guitar solos, and Terry Kath kind of signified that. Plus, you know, he's Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitar player. What more do you need to say, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they lost their soul. You know, they may have gained in fame and popularity, but they lost their soul when Terry passed away.
One more record for you guys, since you asked me to speak in a robotic voice or sing in a robotic voice, is Gary Newman.
Yes.
Well,
I
told you, Grant, I've been getting into him like big time in the last couple of years.
He's so good.
I love him.
Did you like Two-Way Army?
Yeah, like this one is that album that they did when it was kind of that transitional period. So it says Gary Newman, Two-Way Army. You know, there was the Two-Way Army album, and then the next album they went to make, it was really just Gary Newman, you know.
Yeah.
But it still had the name on there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But really it was his thing at that point. And anyway, they just released Replicas, and what's the second, the one with cars on it? Principle.
Pleasure Principle.
So they've released this album and Pleasure Principle as these the first recordings. It's like the outtakes and stuff.
Yeah.
And a few live tracks, and it's just really good. The thing that struck me about Gary Newman is nice kind of teal colored vinyl. When he started getting into electronics, because he was pretty much kind of a punk, you know, kind of a, you know, hard edge guitar bass.
Very much so.
What happened was they went into the studio to start their second album, and there was a Moog in the studio that had been left behind by some other band. And so Gary Newman walked over to it and started playing on it, and immediately when the sound came out, immediately like changed his whole game plan right then. Just, ooh, you know, I could just imagine it like hearing this and just being like, you know, and just having a complete like change. Okay, this, we're not going to do this thing, or now we're going to do this, you know, and that's what he's known for, you know. He's known as like a pioneer in electronic music, right?
Well, absolutely. And you brought up a great point, because the Pleasure Principle has no guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just keyboards, bass, and drums. I noticed that. I was actually listening to it. I just want to give a quick shout out to Adam Alcorn. He was the one that got me into Two-Way Army.
So,
yeah. It's kind of revisit this. We'll have Adam on the show as well. And
and just to wrap up that part is that the one I like the most though is the third album, Telecon. And that has a lot of guitar in it. And it's on YouTube. You can check it out. They did, you know how bands do, like, we're going to perform the complete Dark Side of the Moon. You know, everyone's doing that these days. Well, I saw one from Gary Newman. I think it was done in maybe the late 2000s. I don't know, 2008, 2009 or something, doing the whole Telecon album. And I was just blown away how good it was. I mean, it was like so I mean, he comes out playing guitar and singing, you know.
Yeah.
And the electronics are there, but I mean, the guitars are front and center. Yeah.
Ladies and gents, you have been tuning in to Sunday Spin with your host, Greno, and the one, the only, the incomparable Vinny G, the giant man with the Oklahoma State jersey, and our fabulous, wonderful guest today, and one of my best friends in the entire world for so long, my hetero life mate in songwriting style, Mr. Eric Shaggy Cullen. Shaggy,
now.
It's been so much fun having you. So two things.
Yeah, it's been great.
Two things.
Is that a Das Damen poster back there?
Which, where?
No, the one with the kind of hands. No, all the way to the wall. Yeah, that one.
No, these are my friend Sam Vega. So
no, I know it's not Das Damen. I was being funny.
So I got to give the plug though. That's my friend Sam Vega. They're actually, Eric. They're from your area. They're a gypsy psychedelic folk rock band, and they're also amazing visual artists and teachers. They live, I believe, somewhere in Sonoma County. But dude, they're really good friends of mine, Eric. And I can't believe that I haven't told you about them before. But if you get a chance to see them, man, they're so amazing. It's two sisters, Mel and Merce. Mel plays guitar and mandolin with effects and sings. And Merce plays keyboards. Pat is the drummer. And I always forget the guitar player's name, and I shouldn't because he's the most handsome in the band. I can't remember his name, but he also plays trumpet. Dude, they're a really cool tribal psychedelic folk rock band. What are they called? They're called Sam Vega. And I've done shows with them out here in Colorado. They do a lot of touring. Again, they're art teachers, so anytime they're not doing that, they're off on tour. And they're just wonderful people. I think you'd really enjoy them. They do have music out, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, all that, a couple of full lengths out. But they always do art like that and then sell it on the road. They just whip stuff up. And I mean, no joke, their work is astounding. It's Baker's Sisters Art, I believe, is their website, but they're giants. I mean, they're incredible. So if you get a chance, check them out. And just a little plug. We're always passionate about the people that we know and love. And most importantly, Mr. Eric Shaggy Cullen. So, dude, we're going to get you on a regular segment. And also we're going to have you on again because we barely touched the surface to all the bands you've been in, solo career, all that stuff. Your appearance on the Letterman show and so forth. And New Wave Theater in 1984. But, and yeah, it's just been a pleasure. Vinny, I know you want to say
a body-mind problem.
Brian Skinner. Yeah. Vinny, I know you want to do a couple shout outs, so
yeah.
Go ahead, Eric. Give us your shout outs. You have any shout outs out there?
No. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, first off, thanks for coming on the show. It's always great talking to somebody who has not only the past, obviously the three of us, but just a bastion of knowledge and something right up your alley. And I really want to thank you for sharing your collection with us.
Well, thanks,
because
man.
you're diverse.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, and moreover, where can people reach you? I think that's the most important shot we want to get out there because you've got a great radio show, you've got great music out there on your Bandcamp page. So, where can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, actually, I don't have a Bandcamp page. I'll have one someday. I'm kind of right now. If you want to know what I'm doing on the radio, you can go to KRCB. FM's radio website, And the cool thing about that is you can stream directly from their website. So Thursdays, every other Thursday, the second and fourth Thursday of every month is when my show airs. It'll be on this week coming up. What's today? Saturday? Yeah. So this coming Thursday, I'll be on Rick's least favorite Zeppelin songs.
Can't wait.
And but other than that, I'm keeping a really low profile right now. I've got some big things working with my band, but we're going to be really selective in how we get it out. In fact, I was having a meeting with the drummer Pablo yesterday. You know, one thing that I want to avoid is this kind of oversaturation of self-promotion, because I think that people get so much of that. Not only all their friends who are like promoting their stuff, but you know, just information in general. People are just bombarded. You know, it's this constant. And so, you know, by putting your thing out there and just throwing it in their face, I just don't like that. And I don't think it's effective. I think what is effective is giving people a little taste of something beautiful and then like making them seek it out. And that's kind of where I'm going with things right now. Led Zeppelin, I'm going to go back to Zeppelin, which is where we started. Zeppelin was notorious for not giving interviews, for being very shy of the media. By doing that though, they created this, like, people wanted to find out about them. It created this like interest. It created a mystique, you know. And I think nowadays, I was telling Pablo yesterday, nowadays it's like, you know, you're just throwing spitballs against the wall, and you know, some of them are going to stick and some of them won't. And you know, I just don't like that. So I want to try. I'm really thinking about a different kind of approach in this world of social media.
That's the beautiful thing about art, is you can take it any avenue you want to, any direction you want to. And conversely, you can pull the plugs or slow down anytime you want to. So I think it makes a lot of sense. But I really want to thank you for sharing your story with us, Eric.
Well, thanks, Vinny. Thanks for having me. And Greno.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you again soon, man. We love you like a brother. You know that. Hail 6'4", right?
What do you mean? We are brothers.
Yep. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll be back again next week with Sunday Spin. We have no idea who our guest is going to be, but I can tell you they're lined up at the door. We got hundreds of people that want to be on this show, thousands, millions of people. No, but we have some guests lined up for you guys. We'll be posting that on our Facebook page in the next few days to come. And again, we just really appreciate Eric being on, and we're looking forward to Rick's picks in the future.
Yeah.
And let's just end the show where we started, you guys, with a little Supreme Dialectic Boogie from the Eric Shaggy Cullen anthology from 1989 to 2002 on Estate Grown Records.
Originally released on Aqueducts from 1996. Mermaid Record.
That was great, man. Hey, that's radio, no dead air, baby. All right. So yeah, shout out to all of our 64s. I want to give love to my people at Freedom to Rock Granted. My illustrious producer of so many shows, Mr. Tony Russo. My other hetero life mate over here, Mr. Vinny G. I would not be who I am without these wonderful people in my life. So thank you guys so much. Eric, show some more records while we go. And then we'll do Supreme Dialectic, and I'm going to put my groove on, baby. All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
I got to show you this. This is the Mountain Goats album from 2019, In League with Dragons. I had to buy the special deluxe edition, which has a dragon scale cover.
Of course,
it's embossed.
Of course you did.
Embossed.
Folks, on that note, we just want to let you know we never can stop thinking or talking about records.
There you go.
Oh, see, that's what I mean. It never ends. We're going to have to do a bunch more shows with Eric. We hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. We'll see you next week. Here's Supreme Dialectic from your buddy and mine, Mr. Eric Shaggy Cullen. Let's get your groove on, baby.
Ooh.
you guys next week.